Hey girls, so I just want to start this video off by saying I'm not a professional and I don't know everything about this topic, and so if I'm saying anything that you don't agree with and you think that you have a better answer for it, don't quote me on anything. This is just from my knowledge that I've learned from my mom. And basically this is a video requested by Australian Girl Talk, and she requested I do a pad versus tampon video. And I'm a tampon user, and I do not like pads. And so I'm just going to start out by naming some pros of tampons and pros of pads, and then I will say some cons. So some pros of tampons are that you can do sports with them, and you can move around in any way you wish, and you don't have to worry about leaking. And you can pretty much do anything that you can do when you're not on your period except sexual intercourse. But me being a teenager, I'm not going to be just going around having sexual intercourse with a bunch of people, or with anybody actually. And so I don't have to worry about that. But anything that I do on a regular basis, I can do when I'm wearing a tampon. Another thing, you cannot smell your period. Some people say that you can when you're wearing a tampon. I've never been able to smell my own period or any of my other friends. They've always said that tampons, they're discreet, you never know, and they're just in, they're out, they're done. Okay, and then some pros of pads. I can actually only think of one, is you do not have a risk of toxic shock syndrome. That's the only pro that I can think of with pads. So I'm going to have to go straight into cons of both things. I can only think of two cons of tampons. A con of tampons is you do have a higher risk of toxic shock syndrome. You don't think that if you wear tampons you're going to get toxic shock syndrome. It's a very rare syndrome or disease or whatever you want to say. It's basically a bacterial infection down there, and it comes because you have bacteria that doesn't belong inside of you, that is now inside of you because maybe you didn't wash your hands before you put in your tampon, or maybe you left it in too long. And that's really one con about tampons, is it gives you you have a very small risk of getting toxic shock syndrome. But most people that do have or have gotten TSS were tampon users. So that's why they say tampons are associated with TSS. And then the cons of, oh wait, no, I wasn't finished, I'm sorry. Another con of tampons is that some people say that they're very uncomfortable to put in. I never have the uncomfortable feeling when I put them in, but I know some people do, and say that they kind of hurt when you put them in. But so I guess that's a con, but I never feel it. So I guess it just depends on the girl. And then cons of wearing pads, I can go on for so long about this, but I'm just going to take maybe a minute to go over it. It feels like, if you disagree with me, don't hate me because I'm saying this stuff. It's just my opinion. It feels like you're wearing a diaper when you wear it, and you can't do sports. I'm a very active person. I really love sports, and I like to move around and run around with my friends and randomly do the splits and all that kind of jazz. And I can't do that if I'm wearing a pad. And I've never in my life went out with a pad on, ever. I've started my first period with tampons and never used a pad. A day in my life, I only use pads if I'm only going to be sitting around my house all day, or if I'm sleeping. That's the only time I use pads. Because with sports, I love sports. I live for sports. And I like to run around and go to the park with my friends and climb all over everything. And it's just, I feel like pads would restrict me from doing all that kind of stuff, and I feel like it's easier to leak when you're having a pad on, and if you somehow move the wrong way, the blood that is sitting on the pad, in case it hadn't absorbed, it would leak over and fall off the side of your pad, and it would come, and you could see it through your pants. And I just feel like they're uncomfortable, and they get itchy for me. Even when I sleep, I feel itchy, and if I feel itchy, I take a feminine wipe down there, and then change my pad. that's what I do. If I feel itchy down there, that kind of lets me know that I need to change it. But if you're in school and you feel itchy, you can't just shoot up out of the class and go and change your pad and wipe it down and fix it. You have to live with it until maybe your break or whatever time you get a chance to go to the bathroom. And sometimes you don't even get that chance, but you don't even get a chance to go into the bathroom and change your pad. Or, I mean, I guess you could. It's just my own personal preference. Is tampons. I feel like they're more comfortable and you don't know that they're there. Sometimes I forget that I'm wearing it throughout the day until I get home and I use the bathroom or something after school and I'm like, oh wait, I had a tampon in. Maybe it's time to change it. And so I change it and put a new one in. And basically that's just my tampon versus pad talk. If you have anything else that you want to say, if you have if you know of any pros or cons that I missed about either product, leave them in the comments below, or you can personally inbox me that you want me to make a new video with some of your ideas in them, and I'll be glad to do that as well. I've actually tried to tape this 3 times, and I started to get bored, so I randomly started dancing in the car, because I'm actually sitting in the car right now, because there's many people at my house, and they're all over the place, and running around, and I don't have any privacy to do this. And so I had to do it in the car. And so if you have anything that you want to add to this, or if you want a review on anything, by the way, this is I'm using my favorite pad in this video to sleep in. This is my favorite pad. The Stay Free Ultra Thin Regulars. And then these are the Playtex 360s Supers. They aren't my favorite. And they are scented. They aren't my favorite. My favorite are Tampax Pearl. I have a video about them if you want to check that out. Anyway, leave comments, personally message me. Let me know what kind of videos you want me to do. Well, not what kind of videos, but like, if you have any videos, ideas, let me know, and I'm glad to do those. Thanks, girls.